Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I've got Jonathan Rose on. He is with Genesis Gold, 30 years in the metals business, 20 business owning his own gold business, Christian-based ministry. He takes care of people. And if you are looking for silver, gold, rhodium, or platinum, or pretty much any other gold, it's 800-200 gold. 800-200 gold. We've talked about him a lot. But our big topic today is silver. Silver is going crazy. Now, I'm going to switch over. I'm going to read an article which was on, I think, day 4 yesterday's program, but it makes some very important points. Okay, so to get to this article, here's what it says. Headline says Australia Mint halts all silver sales while in India. No silver available to buy. Not even a sliver of silver. Not even a sliver of silver is available. Australia's Perth Mint, trusted worldwide, has fully suspended all sales of silver products. Not a single coin or bar leaves the facility, effectively erasing one of the world's key sources of new physical supply. In India, the headlines read, suddenly, and without warning, there seems to be a shortage of silver. Default on delivery. So worse than just a shortage, reports are now coming out that silver dealers in India who sell via Amazon and are defaulting on delivery, advertising for sale, taking the order, but not delivering the silver. Out of stock in UK, silver. The silver shortage story splits in two. Physical silver shortage hits London and it's getting serious. Lease rates on London have exploded to 39%, a full-blown panic signal. If banks can't find the metal, they'll be forced to buy back futures or deliver actual silver, both actions that could ignite a violent price surge. Now, Shane Warren has been telling us since 2010 when he had that vision that silver is going to skyrocket far more than gold. In India, the crunch is different. It's not a hedging blow-up. It's a demand supply squeeze. Imports are restricted till March 26. Silver ETFs trade at premiums. Jewelers and refiners are running low on stock. Dealers are rationing deliveries. So globally, we're watching London's paper silver crisis, India's physical scarcity and policy bottleneck, different causes, same consequence, tightness of physical silver that can reprice the entire market. Then there's an update. Funds in the country of India have now halted investing into silver ETFs, i.e. paper silver, citing unprecedented global shortage. Your comments, Jonathan?
Yeah, hi Stan. Thanks for having me to the show and some powerful headlines.
Yeah.
And simply put, the real winners here are the people that are already holding on to silver. I know you've had me on your show multiple times over the past couple of years. One thing I've always talked about, and then we have to dig up some of these clips, is my portfolio holding has always been heavier in silver, because I've always said that silver is the undervalued metal, and it still is undervalued. You heard me talk about my personal allocation, 70% silver, 30% gold. I've said that on your show multiple times, not to say that, I'm so smart and that's why I picked it, but the economic signals have always been there for silver to essentially outpace gold, right? And these headlines that you're reading, the only surprise I'm reading is something that caught my eye is that premiums are up on what's called ETFs, electronically traded funds. Why would you want to own an ETF? Because if you're going to invest in assets like gold and silver, you want to hold on to it, right? You don't want to pay a premium for a piece of paper to say that you own an electronically traded piece of silver. So, that's a big takeaway for people. And you're right, there's countries out there that are halting gold and halting silver sales. And the reason, because supply. I've said this before, the demand is completely outstripping the supply, where they've had to halt silver sales in Australia, in India, shortages right now in the UK. Here in America right now, supplies are dwindling, but I definitely know that premiums have been rising, and it's reflected in the spot price of silver. And in fact, when I look at some of my trading charts here, 1 year gold for reference is up 55% for gold. Fantastic. We love those numbers. But silver up 63.55%. So it's already up over 63% for the year, which is pretty phenomenal. Do I think these trends are going to extend? Absolutely. I think we're just kind of still at the very beginning of what I call a super cycle for precious metals. I can't help not talk about gold if I'm talking about silver, because where gold goes, silver does follow. And if we also look at the price of gold today, I mean, gosh, I mean, it's over nearly $4,200 an ounce, which is just absolutely remarkable. And I remember being up on stage and someone asking me the price of gold, and I said it will easily surpass $2,000, and everyone laughing at me. And here we are today, nearly at 4,000 for gold, and we are looking at nearly $53 spot price for silver. And in fact, if we look at some of the headlines out there too, I'm going to try and do some of the same tricks that you just did with me, because I would love to share some of these stories as well. Gold could easily go to $5,000 or $10,000 in environments like this. And this is from JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon. He's the chief executive officer of JP Morgan. $5,000 to $10,000 for gold. Again, that's a number I have said that I think is realistic. And I think if you're not owning precious metals right now as a foundation, you're missing out on preservation of wealth. And obviously, you're missing out on a lot of these gains. Now, I want to make it very apparent, Stan, that when I buy precious metals, the gains for me personally are secondary. I do this for preservation of wealth, to fight against inflation, to fight against the decline of the US dollar, which is drowning in debt. But another good story here by Bank of America. So that was JP Morgan. Bank of America calls again, agreeing with JP Morgan, agrees for $5,000 for gold. There we go. JP Morgan agrees with Jamie Dimon. But now they're also saying $65 for silver in 2026. And I think, folks, in my personal and professional opinion, $65 for silver is extremely conservative. You know, I'm hearing a lot of chatter on Wall Street, especially with the big money managers with billions of dollars under management. They are talking $120 to $500 an ounce for silver. And when you look at the demand shots for silver right now, you're looking at military applications, space exploration, electronics, car manufacturers, solar systems. They're all using ounces and ounces of silver. But the problem with this is that there's no new silver mines that are being established. I believe the last one silver mine that was ever found was between 2016 and 2019. I have to double check my facts on that, but it hasn't been any time new a silver mine has popped up. So we have depleting supplies. We have, you know, spiraling out of control demand for silver right now. So if you're looking at, you know, buying silver, I believe it's a great product to hold on to, not just to protect from inflation, but based on supply and demand. JP Morgan, Bank of America, $65 an ounce for silver in 2026. When we're looking at silver right now hovering in the low 50s. I think when, you know, once we kind of hit a reflection point, you know, $50 will be in the rearview mirror. And I remember looking at silver in the $16 to $25 an ounce range, and people used to say to me, "Oh, it's never going to move. It's manipulated. It's always range bound." Well, that's now been disproven, and we are seeing the next leg of trajectory with silver. So when it comes to silver, again, I don't like the ETFs. I don't like the mining stocks. I like the physical silver that you get to hold on to. And if you're holding on to silver, you can put it even in an IRA, you can put it in a 401k. And the reason why I like that is because you can roll over these IRAs tax-free and penalty-free. And it's still an IRA, you still get your statements. The only difference is if you have $100,000 in there, you would have $100,000 in there, or silver or gold or mixed. You can take possession of it at any time, but that's considered a distribution. But your metals are held at a licensed depository, backed by major exchanges, insured by Lloyd's of London, and it's your metals. And there's been a big uptick of people who have IRAs with us with precious metals that are taking distributions, and now they're taking possession of the metal. Whereas in the past, people will liquidate their metals and take the fiat money. They'd just say, wire us the money back into our account. But now people want the metals shipped to them. So that really tells you the mindset that people don't trust the dollar. They want to hold onto metals. I often say, silver will buy you the bread and gold will buy you the bakery, right? And in this day and age, with all the instability out there, it's not too late to get involved in precious metals. They say the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. So, getting an understanding and education of the concept of real money, what's happening to our current broken monetary system, and why it makes sense to have a foundation in assets like silver.
Okay, now you just hit on something I want to ask you about. All right, so let me give you my opinion, and then you fill in the blank with gold and silver. In my opinion, I think that there is not going to be a solution between Schumer and Johnson. In other words, this whole shutdown is not going to solve. I don't think it's going to solve in October, and it might not solve in November. I'm not going to be surprised, as I said to my wife last night, if it's not solved this year. Now, let me get to what I really think. What I suspect is it won't get solved. What? Wait a minute. There's prophecies out there that says that we go to a whole new currency system. Rumors from very well-informed sources tell me that the new currency, both papers and coins, have been printed for several years already in the banks, ready to go to a new system. And of course, prophecies also say we're going to a new constitution, a new name, a new flag, with President Trump being the president, and he will be in ultimate charge, the power of a king. And I think that the left, when they have the No Kings rally, as they have coming up this Saturday, I think they do have the ability somehow to see into the future. And I think when they say No Kings rally, they know something. And so I don't think that this shutdown is going to get going again. I think it is a change down, a total change. Now, let's assume not what we think is coming. In other words, that Schumer's going to bend the knee to Johnson and go along with them. But let's assume the worst. Where actually a lot of people think, including me, this is not the worst. But let's assume we do get a whole new system, that the dollar right now begins to crash, as the prophecies say, down a third. Some people would say it's already down a third. Then it goes down another third, and then eventually worthless as leaves blowing in the wind. And that could be the whole new system, as in we could see that by December, January, February, first quarter of next year. Your comments on that one, my friend?
Yeah, it's a good. That's a lot to pick up. And I think one thing is important for people to understand is, with a government shutdown, it actually favors Donald Trump, and President Trump is loving this, because really what's happening is we're furloughing off all the left-wing Democratic employees, and they're being replaced now with MAGA loyalists, and this is a fact. This is happening. And when the government shuts down, I was looking for who takes over, because there's another department. It's like the committee agency. I forget the correct the correct name for who takes over, but there's a whole different department that, when the government shuts down, it's kind of running on that emergency generator, but that emergency generator has a name. It's another committee, and that committee has full power to veto and make laws and furlough people. So that's what they're doing right now, is they're firing all of the Democratic positions, and they're replacing them with MAGA loyalists to make sure that no Democrats can get back in and get back into power. So it's actually a very smart, powerful play move. In terms of, new currencies being printed, the No Kings rally, flags with President Trump on it. We don't have a crystal ball, right? We don't know what's going to happen. But one thing that is solid and secure is currency. And we know that throughout history, since the dawn of civilization and even in the Bible, it's mentioned gold and silver. So if there ever was a changeover, a new currency reset, which I think at some point a currency reset is on the cards. One of the reasons why people are buying precious metals is simply because of this fact, because it's a fallback. It's something that they can rely on.
Here's the bottom line. When people are scared, they buy gold and silver.
Yeah.
When people are prophecy students and they have seen the things that Shane Warren were told are starting to come to pass, where he says silver is going to skyrocket far more than gold. He's not saying don't buy gold. He's just saying, look, if you got a head on your shoulders, you're going to be getting a lot of gold. Now, what's the price of gold as we speak right now? Now, you're probably going to give me a spot price, but if they called Genesis gold right now at 800, 200 gold, how much is 1 ounce coin, gold coin? Or how much is 1 ounce gold? How much is a silver coin right now through you?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So yeah, spot price as we speak is in like just under 4,200. You could be paying about, if you're buying a bullion product, you could be paying about 5 to 6% over that price. And for silver, premiums are on the rise because we're obviously seeing a lot of shutouts right now. So, you could expect to be paying, mid 60s, $70 for a silver 1 ounce coin or a silver round. We have a lot of silver in stock because something I've been doing over the years for Genesis Gold Group is stocking silver and making sure that we have enough silver for our clients. So, that can work for you or work against you, because if the market falls, then I'm left holding all of this inventory, right? And it's costing me money. But in conviction, I believe where the price of metals are going, and the demand for it is extremely high. So you're never going to hear a headline from us saying we ran out of silver. So, if you're looking to buy silver, take possession of silver, coins, bars, you name it, we have it. If you want to put it in an IRA or 401k, tax-free, penalty-free, just like you mentioned, they can give us a call at 800-200-GOLD, which is 800-200-4653. I see through the marvels of technology. I can see the phone number behind your head. So,
number back there.
Yeah. So people can definitely call in. But if they're new to, what I've always liked about silver, it's accessible, because not everybody has $4,000+ to buy some gold, but everybody has a couple $100 to buy silver. So silver to me has always been an entry level metal where people can have accessible to real money. And it's funny, my son, who has some American silver eagles, just very recently said to me, Dad, is this coin, I was going to give it to a friend. I said, well, before you do that, I said, when I gave it to you, it was worth $20. I was like, now that coin's probably worth $65, $70. And he was like shocked. And he's like, I think I'm going to hold on to it. I was like, smart boy.
Okay. So I'd like for you to run through what are the methods of payment. And my first question is, I've heard that sometimes people can call in and just like write a check and scan the check and just email you the check. I mean, it's not even a card or even a bank transfer. Can they do that?
No, we don't. Gosh, those days are long gone. There's been too many frauds, incidences. And I can tell you from previous experience, probably 10 years ago, I had someone give us a cashier's check for over $250,000. And it was for precious metals. And it cashed and it went through. The client got their metals. 60 days later, we got a knock at the door, and it was two men in black suits, and they were from the was it the Secret Service, or they're from the Secret Service. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what did we do something wrong? And they sat down and said, no, you're fine. but you have a check that you cash that's going to, they already knew that's going to bounce. And basically there was a big counterfeit ring going on where people were doing highly sophisticated check cashing fraud. So even as a precious metals dealer that processes tens of millions of dollars a month in transactions, even we've been caught. And I'm sure there's other companies out there that can share the same.
What is the process?
So the safest way to send money to a company is the same way, even if like you're buying real estate, you want to do a bank wire because your money goes over federal telephone lines, you're federally insured and protected, and you get a receipt and confirmation, and your money's insured by doing it that way. So when people are just buying precious metals, they do a bank wire. If they're doing an IRA rollover, then that's much easier because you're just moving, say you're with Charles Schwab or Fidelity, you're just doing what's called a rollover, a tax-free rollover. So they're really the two methods. There are companies out there that offer credit cards, but then you got fees and it's just not worth it.
Okay, so I go to the bank, I wire you the money, it arrives, let's say the wire arrives tomorrow. Now, how long am I looking at getting, and is the money coming to me insured?
Yeah, well, you're never wiring me money. So you're wiring the company money, which would be Genesis Gold Group, okay? As long as you do a bank wire before 2:30, that's generally the cutoff time. It should hit the same day. And then when our accounting department notifies us, we call the clients and let them know the funds have arrived. And then we can expedite shipping. Normally in about 7 days or less, they will receive their precious metals.
Okay. Let's say they're getting a bunch, and they're saying, I'm a little bit nervous about keeping this in my house. Palisades burned. Who knows how much gold and silver got melted in that big fire, so short of burying it in the backyard or something, tell us about places that they can store it safely and still have emergency access to it.
Yeah, it's a good question. I've had a lot of clients over the years buried in the ground. I've also helped clients recover their gold, especially when Hurricane Katrina happened, when I actually hired private retired special forces to go in and retrieve precious metals from one of our customers' homes. But normally, outside irregular acts of God and attacks, terrorist attacks, people would either want to keep their precious metals at home in a fireproof safe, or they go to their local bank, get a safety deposit box. If they don't trust their local banks, then they can also keep it in a depository, which is very different than a bank. But generally, rule of thumb, I encourage people to keep precious metals at home because it's cash. It's an emergency asset that you can use at any point given time. If it's in your IRA, you don't have to worry about it because it's already insured by Lloyd's of London and it's held at a licensed depository backed by major exchanges. And if you're happy going to your local Bank of America or your local bank, you get a safety deposit box and you can place it there with your other valuables.
Okay. Now, look, I'm not an expert on safes, so I assume you probably checked it out better than I have. So we're talking about a regular gun safe is good enough, or is there like a more safe?
No, I mean, a Sentry safe is good. Sentry safe is good. I mean, I could give you an example of a couple of smart options here that a couple people do. I know a couple people in their homes, not mentioning any names, keep a couple of safes, okay? And in one safe are their valuables. In the other safe will be a little bit of money or fake money, some fake jewelry, some fake stock certificates. So that way, if they're ever burgled or whatnot, and that's happened to people I know personally. They've had home invasions. Okay, they've taken them to the safe that they think they're getting valuables, and they take that. So obviously, it's a horrible thing to think about, but you want to plan for everything, right? You don't plan. You don't plan on survival and being a survivalist and having to use this stuff, but it's better to be prepared and not use it than unprepared and need it, right? So regular safes are absolutely fine. Most safes today are fire rated. Again, a lot of people, if they're not keeping it at home, will just do a local safety deposit box at their local bank, which is absolutely fine. But again, I'm a big believer in you should be holding on to it. But most of the transactions that happen today, the bigger transactions, they're happening in IRAs. So, people's IRAs, they could have 100,000, $250,000 and up in those. And they're the ones that you really want to have that type of money held at a licensed depository with your name on it. And when the time comes, you can liquidate those funds and take it back in cash or take in-kind transfer in the precious metals itself.
Okay, I think I'm kind of asking the obvious here, but so someone has an IRA or a 401k, they call you and you kind of hold their hand through the process of getting that dumped into either silver or gold or a combination thereof, and at what time in an emergency they need to access part or all of that, they can do that, and you can help them to facilitate. All of the questions are going to be answered there.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think we are the best at what we do. We've got countless reviews online. If you go to our website at Genesis Gold Group, you'll see Dean Kane on there, Neil McDonough, some well-known, recognized faces, and these just aren't paid actors. These are ambassadors of Genesis Gold Group. These are my clients, my friends that trust me with their money, that they'll put their face on our website because they know that, hey, we are the real deal. This is my trusted source for precious metals, and they're good guys. So, people can trust us knowing that they're in good hands. We'll walk them through the whole process from start to finish, because it can be a little bit daunting. We have an IRA department. So once you decide, hey, I want to do this, how does this work? We have specific people that will speak to your financial institution and help you move those funds from point A to point B. And once they're there, you'll hear from what we call a metals director at Genesis Gold Group, and then they'll go over the portfolio with you, and you get to pick. That's the fun part now. You get to pick. Is it gold? Is it silver? Is it coins? Is it bars? Are you leaning on us for a recommendation? Maybe you know exactly what you want, which is also very common. People know exactly what they want to buy, the prices they want to pay, and they just want to make sure it's through a trusted source. So that's what they can rely on.
I have a bucket list. I don't know if I'll ever get this bucket list, but I'll tell you what I'd like to own in my lifetime. At least, I mean, I like to own it, but I'd definitely like to put it in
gold.
A big bar of silver. I'm talking about, like
100,
kind of fit in a shoebox, and a big, same size. I think you call them 1,000 ounce. I don't know, obviously, and also a big bar of gold. I just want to be able to hold it in my hands. Ideally own it. So and can you help them get those buckets?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wish I had one on my desk. I don't, but to hold like a 100-ounce bar of silver, it's just a really great feeling to hold a kilo of gold, and forget a kilo of gold, like just a 1-ounce gold coin. Every time you put a 1-ounce gold coin in somebody's hand, the first reaction is, wow. This is heavy, and people don't realize how dense the metal is. So the first shock reaction is, wow, this is heavy. The second reaction is, this is this is worth something. They can tell already. Like if they knew nothing about gold, they knew that this is something special of value they're holding.
There's something special. I mean, don't get me wrong, silver's nice, but there's something special about holding gold. I've never held a 1 kilo. Well, I mean, the only thing I've touched is just a 1-ounce gold coin. But that's another bucket list. I would love to be able to have various. And maybe I should ask that question. What is the difference between having a coin, a small bar, or maybe a larger bar of both gold and silver? I mean, why have those bars?
That's a great question. So the larger the bar, there you're going to be paying less of a premium. Okay, smaller the denomination, they carry more of a premium, which means you'll be paying more. Why coins and not bars, or vice versa? Well, coins are considered international currency. So we have an American eagle, there's Canadian maple leafs. You're not seeing like 1-ounce bars of American eagle. So coins are considered currency. Bars, on the other hand, when you go to liquidate them, sometimes they could be trickier to liquidate because you have to make sure that they're real, scratched, have it assayed, make sure it's the real, the real gold in there. So, people tend to gravitate towards coins over bars. I'm not to say one is greater than the other, But then at the same time, I think there's a place for both. I just want to notice I put this in the camera shot. This is my daughter's pen, and it's on my desk. It's got like a little British royal guard on there. So I saw that. I got a little kick out of that. So
and last question. I know that some people say only buy, the official United States coins or maybe Canada coins. One person said only buy the official United States gold or silver coins because they're actual currency and everybody accepts them. But a lot of people buy gold and silver coins that are they're not official U.S. coins. They're not official anything coins.
Yeah,
tell me about that.
My best recommendation, again, I've been in this industry for 30 years, and my top recommendation is stay away from secondhand coins, local pawn shops. Unless you're testing that metal in front of you, you have to make sure it's real. There's a lot of counterfeits coming out there. The coins and bars, specifically coins that we use, they're called mint direct, which basically means no human hands have touched them. They're straight off the United States Mint press, okay, the refinery itself. They're boxed and strapped, white gloved, and all the metals that we put in IRAs or home delivery, they are all mint direct coins, and that's the only type of precious metals I will personally purchase.
So I think what you're saying is it's really best to get an official U.S. coin. That would be the top of the line.
Yeah, if you're paying silver and gold, the prices are climbing. You want quality, okay? Don't buy something that's begins with a C and ends with a P, right? You want quality, and that quality is going to be mint direct, is where there's no questions in the back of your mind that this is 24 karat gold or 3/9 pure silver, and we stand behind all of our metals. So yes, definitely stick with mints that are recognized and not secondary market coins.
Jonathan Rose, another fantastic interview, my friend. 800-200-GOLD, 800-200-4653. I know you probably don't remember the number, so just look in my background, 800-200-GOLD. Give them a call, especially have an IRA, a 401, or if you have a pile of money in a bank or any place that's not in gold and silver, then there's a risk, okay? So there's a risk, 800-200-GOLD. Thank you for being on Prophecy Club.
Thank you, sir.
In a world of uncertainty, be prepared with Silver Prepper Bars, your ultimate hedge against political instability and economic turmoil. Introducing the Silver Prepper Bar, crafted from 0.999 pure silver and proudly made in the USA. This tangible, divisible asset can come in handy even in the toughest of times. Portable, perforated, and easily tradable, the Silver Prepper Bar is your lifeline in times of crisis. When facing inflation, currency devaluation, and financial meltdown, Silver Prepper Bars provide peace of mind. Don't wait for disaster to strike. Secure your future today with the exclusive Silver Prepper Bar, the only silver bar on the market divisible into 3 different size pieces for maximum utility, all while fitting in your wallet. The smart choice for savvy investors and preppers alike. With Silver Prepper Bars, you're ready for whatever tomorrow brings. As gold and silver prices continue to surge and top economists predict upcoming shortages, now is the time to secure your precious metals in the form of Prepper Bars, the only bar on the market divisible into 3 sizes for maximum utility. Place your order before supply runs out and prices go up. Don't wait for disaster to strike. Don't leave your future to chance. All payment methods accepted. Order your Silver Prepper Bars now, 0.999 pure silver and proudly made in the USA. Silver Prepper Bars, ready for whatever tomorrow brings. Order now.